Episode number 307 of the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. Welcome to the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. I am your host, Michelle Oravitz, and today I am going to talk about a topic that I think is so important, and I'm sure so many people out there are listening to this and wanting to know more. So today I'm going to talk about all things getting pregnant in your 40s. So typically what drives me absolutely crazy is hearing that you're considered a geriatric pregnancy once you're pregnant after age 35. So I think that's absolutely ridiculous. And working in this field, I work with so many people either approaching 40s or after 40s. And I just recently had a patient at 46 who is pregnant and thriving. So there are so many stories out there that will definitely contradict all of the fear and all of the questioning and the doubts in women getting pregnant in their 40s. So I feel really passionate about this. If you are in your 40s and you're trying to conceive, I highly recommend you listen to this episode. Welcome to the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. I'm Michelle, a fertility acupuncturist here to provide you with resources on how to create a wholesome approach to your fertility journey. So I'm going to be realistic and optimistic at the same time when it comes to getting pregnant after 40. So the realistic aspect of it is the more time you're living in elements of the earth, you are going to have natural wear and tear. You're going to also have a natural decline in certain factors of your body. And that could be, I guess, the realistic news. However, the optimistic news is that we can actually do a lot to improve whatever it is, to slow down the aging process. And we can do a lot also to improve the quality of our cells and our cellular regeneration, and also the energy, overall chi, overall blood, and really support our body. And our body is forgiving. It has been designed to be very forgiving. It's also been designed to reproduce. So if you give it the resources, then it will start to heal itself. It will replenish itself, and it'll produce better outcome when it comes to reproductive health. So as far as the realistic part, let's talk about really what happens as women age. And when it comes down to really being in your 40s, now I will kind of bust a myth here, because a lot of times they say women are the only ones that have biological clocks and men don't. And that is absolutely not true. And as a matter of fact, nowadays, unfortunately, there's a lot going on that's also impacting sperm health, even for men in their reproductive age. So it does definitely impact and get lower with age for men as well. So typically the things that will decline with age, from a TCM perspective, traditional Chinese medicine perspective, women will definitely overall their kidney qi. The kidneys in Chinese medicine are really in charge of reproduction, and they have very important roles from the moment the woman goes into puberty until afterwards, towards the end, they start to decline. So the reproductive health of the kidneys, there are two aspects of it. I've talked about this before. You get pre-heaven qi and post-heaven qi. And so you can get the pre-heaven qi is basically like genetics. It's what you're born with. It's essence that you're given really at birth. And you could look at all the eggs that a baby has. If it's a female, it already is born with the eggs. And so all of that is there once a woman becomes more ripe, which is towards reproductive age, when that aspect of her body starts to activate. Some people are born with a much better inheritance of qi, and others have a little less. However, we also have what's called post-heaven qi. And post-heaven qi is something that a lot of times the spleen and stomach are really in charge of, and the spleen and stomach are in charge of digestion. So the things we eat, how we choose to live, the amount of stress we have in our life, because stress can really deplete a lot of the qi, the energy. Qi, by the way, is life force vitality. So all of those things come in and play a factor on how a person's overall health and overall reproductive health is impacted. The good news, again, is that you can actually reverse your biological age, and this can depend on many different factors, and I'll talk about that as we continue. But some of the things to keep in mind is that, yes, as people age, their overall ATP in the cells, which is really energy units in the cells, in the mitochondria, they lower with time. So that actually decreases. And when ATP decreases in cells, it actually decreases also the quality of the cells. And since egg cells are the largest cell in a woman's body, it's really important that they are robust with healthy mitochondria so that they can create a lot more ATP energy units, because it takes a lot of energy to conceive. It takes a lot of energy for the egg to fertilize with the sperm to create a healthy embryo, because it's a lot of force. And if you look at any seeds, really any seeds anywhere, and this is why eating seeds is actually so beneficial, because seeds have a lot of what we call jing. Jing is essence. And so that essence is basically very similar to conception, because seeds have everything they need, all the nutrients kind of sitting there, and their potential is there for growth. So they're primed and ready with the right environment to grow and sprout. So that is why one of the things we often suggest is to eat lots of seeds, and people use seed cycling. And I say either seed cycling or just eating seeds. Either way, you are going to get that essence and that jing through food. So your digestive health is really important as far as taking that quality and translating them into your eggs and translating them into your cells, essentially. And also over time, as the egg quality declines, that impacts how much the follicles will grow, and it can impact the follicular phase of the menstrual cycle, which is the first phase of the menstrual cycle from the time a woman gets her period up until the time she ovulates. And little by little, that time can decrease, and that can also be a reflection of how the follicles are growing and if they're maturing enough. And it typically can decline with age. Another thing that can decline is also the progesterone. So from either not ovulating, or also from just the quality of the eggs, because the outside of the follicle is the corpus luteum. So when the egg comes out of the follicle, what's left over is the corpus luteum, which is where the progesterone comes from earlier on. And if a woman gets pregnant, that progesterone will last for a few months until the placenta starts to provide the progesterone. If a woman is low in progesterone, she may need to get excess progesterone extra from her doctor, or sometimes people try to do it bioidentical. So there are definitely many things that a woman can try, and many interventions that she can try in order to help her conceive if she's at a later maternal age. However, I've seen people conceive naturally at a later maternal age after 40 by implementing many lifestyle changes, including, which really is at the heart of everything, is supplements and diet, but diet even more than supplements. So if you have, say, food sensitivities, or you're experiencing digestive discomfort or digestive issues, that's going to impact the supplement absorption. So it doesn't really matter if you don't take care of your gut health. It doesn't even matter what kind of supplements you have. And yes, maybe it's going to make a little bit of a dent, but it's not going to be as effective as if you get your digestive system in order. So what are things that can impact egg quality? So my suggestions here are multifold. I mean, there's so many different things that I can suggest, but I'm going to suggest the big ones that I think are the most crucial. And omega-3 fatty acids and antioxidants are really, really, really crucial when it comes to egg quality. Getting those healthy fats and healthy fats, like really, really good healthy fats, omega-3 fatty acids, less omega-6, which are pro-inflammatory. You want anti-inflammatory, you want antioxidants, and really an anti-inflammatory diet would be the best bet when it comes to egg quality. So you want to lower inflammation because higher inflammation can decrease egg quality. You want to remove things like sugar, processed foods. All of those things can impact inflammation, but it also can impact your gut. And you want a good healthy microbiome so that you're able to really translate what's in the food, even if you're eating right, into the nourished energy and the chi and the life force and the blood that will support egg quality. You also want a healthy exercise routine. So you want like a good opportunity for your body to get oxygen, because oxygen plays a really important role when it comes to increasing the ATP and the energy units in the body, and exercise as well. So if you over-exercise, so here's the key. Over-exercising, you're going to deplete your energy. Under-exercising, you're going to deplete your energy. Being in a healthy BMI, a healthy weight, is the most ideal. So the ideal BMI for getting pregnant is between 18.5 and 24.9. It's known as the healthy range. Anything lower or anything higher can contribute to a more deficient state. Believe it or not, even having excess and having a higher weight can be deficient because your body's carrying the weight and it's not using the energy properly. Sunlight also impacts melatonin in your cells. So believe it or not, even though melatonin is something that many people take and it's used at night, or it's considered something that impacts sleep, it also impacts the cells and works as an antioxidant. And one of the ways to do it is by taking supplements, but I would definitely suggest getting sunlight early in the morning, because if you get sunlight early in the morning, your cells will start to make cellular melatonin, and that can impact your egg quality as well. Another thing that we know can really act as an anti-ager is meditation. By meditating, you can actually slow down and reverse your biological age. There are many studies that show that there's so many physiological improvements that can happen from meditation. But not just meditating, things like yoga as well, things that really calm the nervous system, like even chanting has been shown to have many beneficial aspects, but it also can increase nitric oxide, chanting does. So there are a lot of things that you can do that are free and really are so minimal, like it doesn't even take that much time out of your day, that can improve and reverse your biological age. Meditation has been shown to help people live longer. It increases well-being, and it also works on your emotions. And believe it or not, emotions are actually pretty high maintenance, especially difficult emotions. If you think about it, it really uses up a lot of energy. So it's not a very energy efficient aspect of us. Now, it does happen from time to time, and it's normal to have those emotions, no doubt. But if you have it chronically, it can really, really deplete the energy of the body. Think about times where you've had a very heightened sense of emotion or a difficult day, and you've really, it got the best of you. Think about how depleting it was and how depleted you felt. Sometimes people need to sleep just to kind of overcome all of the emotions and all of the drain that it's given them. So emotions can be really taxing. But then on the other hand, elevated emotions can actually provide more energy. So things like laughter are really healthy. I oftentimes tell people to do that, especially before transfers, because if you are getting a transfer, it's been shown to help the transfer stick. So laughter therapy, if it helps with transfers, it really helps with everything else. It was just one study on that, but laughter is healthy in general. So watching things like comedies will take the edge off of the fertility journey just to have a little break mentally, because we know that it can be really taxing and difficult as it is. So I always say, if you're going to have those things happen or things that are challenging that you're dealing with, you obviously can't take that away because it's just part of life. and it's part of the process. But what you can do is counteract it with other tools and other things that you can at least balance out or alleviate or take the load off. And I highly suggest laughter therapy. That's huge. But also exercise and yoga, things that really calm the nervous system, because it helps you sleep. And sleep is another really, really important factor that can also help with age-related fertility conditions. So getting sleep is incredibly nurturing. It also helps your body organize and balance hormones. It's so important to get your overall chi increased, which think ATP, think about your mitochondria, your cells, rejuvenation. Sleep is incredibly important. The key with sleep is not to have too much sleep and not to have too little. So about 8 to 9 hours or 7 to 9 hours, ideally 8 would be great. Supplements you might want to consider are a good prenatal supplement, omega-3s, vitamin C and E because they're high in antioxidants, but sometimes the prenatals have a good amount. Glutathione is really important, NAC, and please don't take this as medical advice. Definitely speak to somebody about taking this because it's not for everybody. Not all supplements are for everybody. It really is dependent on your unique circumstance. And you can also get your DHEA tested to see if it's low because many women after 40 can benefit from taking DHEA depending on their condition. For some people, it can have an adverse effect if it's too high. So it's important to really look at it because it is a hormone. If you are considering IVF, my suggestion is to inquire about a lower dosage protocol because from what I've learned from speaking to other practitioners and also speaking to my patients and seeing people doing a lot better, women who have a lower reserve may do better with lower medication protocols because it works more on the quality than the quantity. Because if you try to work on the quantity, then the quantity is already low. So it's better for fewer eggs to take in the medication and grow. And from what I've seen, people have done better with that if they have lower reserve. But again, this is a question for your doctor. You want to make sure that they're on board. You may want to get multiple opinions and see what everybody thinks because you'll find different opinions on everything when it comes to fertility and when it comes to doctors. And lastly, you want to also track your cycle. And I wouldn't just do it with LH sticks because LH sticks are just going to show your brain wants to get your body to ovulate, but it doesn't really confirm ovulation. I highly recommend trying BBT charting for at least 2 months. I have a couple of episodes on that. If you want to look into different methods that you can choose to track your fertile window, you could check out episode number 299. I cover many different ways to track it, how to track it, and ways that are a little more convenient than just doing the BBT, which I do highly still recommend to at least to do it for 2 months. The important thing is really to understand it and to understand your fertile window and really understand what is happening and when you are most fertile. It could help you also in understanding whether you need to address the follicular phase or the luteal phase or what's happening, because if your luteal phase is short or the temperature is too low, that could be possibly significant in showing that you have low progesterone and something that you might want to mention to your doctor or your natural health practitioner. So those are all things that you want to know. If you do have any questions, I am very active on Instagram. You can DM me and my handle is @thewholesomelotusfertility. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope that you found this information helpful. If you have any other ideas or topics, again, feel free to DM me on Instagram. And thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a beautiful day. So that concludes today's episode. You can find all of the links mentioned on the episode notes. If you're enjoying these episodes, please take a moment to share and leave a review. Reviews mean everything to podcasters, and I really enjoy hearing from my listeners. You can also find me on my website at www.thewholesomelotus.com or email me at info@thewholesomelotus.com. I love hearing from my listeners. If you're interested and want updates as well as a free ebook on my top 10 fertility boosting habits, you can visit my fertility page on www.thewholesomelotus.com. I thank you so much for listening in and hope that you have a beautiful day.